Hey guys, it's your boy Mr. Luke Evan Brooks. I hope that you're all doing well. And this is going to be a special show right here. This is going to be dedicated to one of my sailors that used to be here with us. I just found out today that he has left this world by suicide. And a lot of people don't want to talk about that, but he basically unaligned himself. And I'm not going to go on here too long because it really did impact me. I don't know what he was going through. I don't know the battle that he was going through, but we need to check on one another. We truly do need to check on one another when we go through things in our life. We have to know that we're not walking by ourselves. I know a lot of things are going on. I know that I was ranting about this car thing, right? I'm dealing with my business. And when I heard that, I heard the news come from my boss about my sailor. All that stuff went out the door right there. And what I did, and this is what you should do now, because you never know if whatever a person going through, they may hold it in. You don't know. I told my loved ones that I love them, and that if they need to talk, I don't care what it is. If it's something that it's going to affect them, make that type of decision to reach out and talk to me. I don't care. I will pick up the phone. And we got to be open like that because it happens. It happens a lot. It's not just in the military, but it happens in everyday life right there because people going through something that they just can't see the daylight to. And we can't think that way. We do live in a world that deals with doom and gloom, right? Because a lot of people out here want to paint that picture. Every time you turn on the news, for example, they're talking about something that's messed up, right? Violence in the street, people on drugs, people hurting themselves. They were just talking about that one actress from Heroes. They're telling us that she possibly had done this as well too, unalive herself. And people are like, oh, wow, this and that. But they're not asking the question, what was she going through? And she wrote a book. Sometimes we got to look at those little telltale signs when people are looking to get help. They're going to have ways to express it. They may say things. They may be withdrawn. But we got to be able to reach out to someone. It doesn't matter who it is, right? Because I don't like to sit with that in my stuff. I mean, as I was saying, I was talking to a coworker about the situation that was going on with the sailor, and you wouldn't think anything about him being like this. You wouldn't have any thoughts of like, yeah, he's that type to do that. And no one thinks that way, but we need to be able to reach out and talk to one another. So I have some stats here that are dated back to 2024 that I have here, just to give you a rough idea that this thing is not something that's just, it's minor. You should treat it as if it's an epidemic. So 48,000 people, over 48,000 people died by unaligned in 2024. That equates to 134 unalives every day, or roughly one unalive every 11 minutes. The U.S. rate is about 13.7 unalives per 100,000 people. Now, 14 million adults seriously consider, 14 million people, over 14 million people consider doing that act. 4.6 million have made an unalive plan. 2.2 million, and these are adults here, attempted it. And I mean, it's risen. So looking back at, well, it went down a little bit in 2023, but it's climbing with everything going on. When you look at it, you look back at the data, you look at what people are considering is happening. But there are ways to get help, guys. I don't want you to feel like that's the only plan. There's no daylight. It's always daylight. If you can fall on your back and you can look up, you can get up and fight for another day. Don't be that one that sits there and say, well, this is the only option I can have. And I just wish, like I told the guys, I wish I could go back and talk to that sailor because he rode with me. I could tell you the whole story. So when we were in Bahrain, we got attacked back in February and they were trying to figure out plans to get everyone out of the area. So the plan was to fly us out of the country, but we couldn't just go to the airport directly. They just didn't want to have that type of risk. So we had to get everyone together. Some people got to stay. Some people had to go. I was one of the people to go to look out for the sailors. And what happened was when we got notified about leaving, because they told you have your phone ready because you're going to be going within a few hours. And I was notified 3 hours. So, hey, you leaving in 3 hours. We got on the bus. I seen him. I didn't say anything crazy to him. He was into his games. He was real quiet. I said, you okay? Like, yeah, just tired, and he was nonchalant, just tired. Wasn't like phased, wasn't shook. Some of his friends that were with us cheering him on, like, hey man, they're joking him, but not like bullying him. Like, oh man, like why you do that for? Why are you walking by yourself? He was just a little different, right? And he went out to eat with us. We flew back. We had to make sure that he was taken care of because he's new. He's young. He was 22, right? All this stuff is happening. And then the plan was, first initially they were going to send a group of guys to one of the areas in San Diego. And they did initially. But then as things start to slow down, they say, hey, we need this person in the country over here. We need this person in this country here. They didn't pull him because he's brand new to the Navy. It was like, well, let's let him stay there. And he had a little bit of trouble, right? They needed to take care of that. But it wasn't trouble like you're thinking, like drugs. Like drugs is a zero tolerance policy in the Navy. And, he went through it. And you're thinking he's going to get in trouble. This stuff happened before he even got to the command. And, he got clear of it. And it was time to turn a new leaf. He was able to go to another command, better command, more nurturing. And the whole idea was just to get him away from the area, get away from that trauma. And I think there was talks of it. It's like every time he has to go associate with us, he just don't want to be there. But we were not the ones. We just had to go through the process. And I felt that process before. I called a place that I used to work at, the Devil's House, because the stuff that they put me through, I went through some hell. And I haven't told everyone that story. That's a story that y'all going to be looking at. But anyway, this is not about me. This is about him. So, I was in charge of having him muster with me while I was in California, because we're all in California. I'm like, hey, what's going on? You didn't muster. I wasn't yelling. I don't like to yell if I don't have to. And, I'm sorry, sir. I was doing some training. I said, everything okay? He's like, yes, sir. Everything's okay. So from that point right there, I think I should have been more aware of the little signs. So we're in a group chat at one of these platforms. I noticed that he exit himself out of the group that we do the mustard. So we do a daily mustard 2 times a day, basically. He exit out. And I was telling one of my sailors, like, hey, dude, like, why is he exiting out? He's supposed to be mustering. And they were like, well, he's going to go over to a new command. We're going to go ahead and do a transfer for him, which is a good sign. And then, like I say, today, I was literally looking at the sheet that I was working on, showing where our people are at. And I see him by himself in California. And, looking at that, that's what it was, I think. I think he felt like he was by himself. Even with him being in that new command, he probably felt like no one sided with him, basically. No one got along with him because they didn't understand him. Now, he had boys over at the command that I'm at now, and they joke and stuff, but maybe it didn't catch on. Maybe he felt like, I can't tell this person what I'm experiencing. I can't tell this person what I'm going through. But you never know. You never know why people do things like that. I mean, you hear about stuff in history, but the everyday person who considers that one of those 14 million people who are considering doing the act, you just don't know. And, I pray for him and his family. My whole thing is that, people do have those thoughts. Sometimes people just feel like they can't take it no more. And I'm here to tell you that you have to let that thought go. That thought can eat you up. It can eat your soul. And I'm telling you here that you don't have to go through that. You do not have to go through that. I don't care If you lost your job, you lost your wife, your husband, any of that stuff, that is not the answer. That is not the answer. But guys, I'm going to cut this short because I got some more video that I got to tag along here with this. It got cut off and it just felt funny. But I start talking about it. Camera start acting up. It stopped flickering, then it went dead. Even though it was at like 80%, it has dropped down so rapidly. So I hope he's not messing with the stuff. And I hope that, honestly, that his family are taken care of. Because, I always hear this thing. No one can imagine burying their child before they be buried. And I've seen it with my grandparents. With one of my grandparents. It's not a good feeling, guys. Again, guys, sorry to put this out here, but I needed to be real with you. I'm not using this to monetize or anything like that. But again, if you're going through something, please call those numbers or get in touch with that link down below. And if you got questions, if you're going through something like that, please drop it down, man. I will write to you. I promise you. Till then, take care. God bless.